Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a really interesting strategic move, maybe even a retreat in the online education space.
Yeah, we're diving into that big announcement from freeCodeCamp, the one from September 18th, 2025.
Right, about how they're completely changing the structure for their main full stack developer curriculum. And maybe more importantly, how you actually earn the certifications now.
Exactly. And this isn't just some small update, it's a big pivot, really. They've been pretty open that it's based on how people were actually using the platform.
A kind of candid admission, wasn't it? That the original design maybe didn't quite get how learners think or behave.
That's the core of it. So our mission today is to unpack why. Why did that massive 1,800-hour capstone idea not really take off like they hoped?
And then translate that into what it means for you, the person studying right now. How can you use this change to, well, get certified faster?
Let's dig in.
Okay, so the original goal, the big 1,800-hour cert, it came from a good place, right? They wanted real rigor.
Oh, definitely. The idea was to build something substantial, something that could stand shoulder to shoulder with, say, CompTIA certifications.
Something that really showed you'd put in the time and achieved mastery. No cutting corners.
But that focus on rigor, ironically, kind of backfired. It created this adoption problem.
The founder even called it a major miscalculation, didn't he?
He did. And when you look at why, it becomes pretty clear. They aimed for this huge single achievement.
Like climbing Mount Everest in one go.
Sort of, yeah. And in doing that, they really underestimated how much people value getting some kind of verifiable credential, well, sooner rather than later, certainly in less than a year.
And that desire for a quicker win, you can really see it when you compare the old system to the new plan.
Right. The legacy curriculum, the one people use for, what, nearly 10 years?
Yeah, that one let you get your first certification after about maybe 300 hours of work.
Exactly. 300 hours. That feels achievable, right? Maybe 3 to 6 months if you're dedicated.
A real milestone you can aim for relatively quickly.
Precisely. That 300-hour mark was a powerful psychological boost. Now contrast that with the new plan.
The 1,800-hour certified full-stack developer capstone.
Yeah, a whopping 1,800 hours before you get that first certificate. That's not just 6 times the work. It's pushing any tangible reward maybe 2, even 3 years down the line for many people.
And the data showed what? People weren't biting.
Pretty much. A lot of active students just stuck with the older legacy coursework. Even though the new stuff was academically better, the time commitment for that first payoff was just too much, too daunting.
Hold on, though. If the goal was that CompTIA level rigor, and those certs do require huge commitments, isn't this change basically admitting they're, I don't know, lowering the bar for speed?
That's a fair question. But based on how they've framed it, the answer seems to be no, not really lowering the content bar.
Just the structure.
Exactly. They realized the delivery method was the problem, not the depth of the material itself. They needed both rigor and those intermediate milestones.
So it's acknowledging how people actually learn and stay motivated in the real world, that they want those steps along the way.
Yes, the learning journey is still the full 1,800 hours for the capstone, but now there are these 6 validation points built in.
Okay. And we should probably mention, to be fair, there were other things slowing down the adoption of the new curriculum too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Logistical hurdles. It's still officially in beta.
The backend JavaScript part isn't fully live yet, I think.
Correct. And the actual exam environment, the software for taking the tests, that's not ready either.
But the community is working on fixing those things.
Oh yeah, they're pushing hard. The hope is to get the whole thing out of beta, back-end course included, maybe as early as this summer.
But even if all that was fixed tomorrow,
The core issue would still be that massive, single 1,800-hour commitment. That psychological hurdle remains the big one.
so facing that kind of strategic challenge, great product, poor adoption, what do?
You look back at what worked before. And that's exactly what they did.
They went back to their roots, in a way.
Absolutely. The solution wasn't to simplify the content, but to bring back the structure they used successfully for their first 9 years. Smaller, more focused, achievable certifications. That's the key takeaway here.
And this is where it gets practical for you, the listener. They aren't throwing out the 1,800 hours of content.
No, not at all. They're just slicing it up. That same curriculum is now broken down into 6 major component certifications.
Things you can earn along the way to that final capstone.
Exactly. It's a really smart solution.
Yeah.
They brought back the quick win feeling. Each of these new subcerts is around, guess what?
Let me guess. 300 hours.
Spot on. Around 300 hours each. just like the old legacy certs people were comfortable with.
So 6 mini credentials, 6 resume updates, 6 motivation boosts.
Without sacrificing the overall depth needed for the final full-stack developer certification.
That's quite a shift.
Yeah.
So if you finish the entire thing now, you walk away with not 1, but 7 certificates.
That's right, 7 total. The 6 component certs plus the big one at the end.
Okay, let's list those 6 new component certs. These are the new milestones people can aim for.
Yeah, they cover the whole stack. Gives you a good idea of the scope.
Okay, first up is responsive web design. That's your HTML, your CSS, the modern fundamentals.
Then comes JavaScript algorithms and data structures. Super important foundational logic for, well, any developer.
Third is front-end libraries. So diving into tools like React, maybe, frameworks people use every day.
Exactly. Then it shifts deeper. The next one is Python programming. That's a pretty significant addition.
That's
With like industry demand.
Python's huge, yeah. What's next?
Relational databases. So SQL, how data is stored and managed. Critical stuff.
And the last component piece.
Backend development and APIs. Tying it all together, building deployable applications.
So yeah, that covers the full spectrum, browser to database. But how do they keep the rigor for these smaller certs? It can't just be completing the lessons, right?
No, there are 2 parts to earning each one. First, you have to successfully build the specific certification projects for that section, the hands-on proof.
Okay, practical application.
And second, you have to sit for and pass a dedicated exam just for that topic.
Ah, so there are exams for each of the 6.
Yes, an exam for each component. Then, once you've passed all 6 exams and built all the projects, then you tackle the final big capstone project and sit for the comprehensive final exam.
To get the overall certified full-stack developer title.
Correct. Rigor maintained at each step.
Okay, let's talk timing. If you're studying now, when can you actually sit for these new exams and get that first credential?
They're moving fast. The priority is getting the exam system ready for the first 2 certs.
Responsive web design and JavaScript.
That's the plan. They're aiming to have those exams ready as early as Halloween.
Wow, that's really soon, like next month soon.
Yeah, provides almost immediate validation if you've already been working through that new material.
And for the other 4 component certs, what's the timeline look like?
The goal is to roll them out as they get finished, aiming to have all 6 live and examinable by next summer.
So a pretty aggressive rollout over the next, 8 or 9 months?
Seems like it. Shows they're serious about fixing that structural issue quickly.
Let's talk about that exam environment. Taking exams online can be tricky. Proctoring, privacy concerns.
Yeah, that's always a big one. They seem to have listened to feedback here.
No creepy webcam monitoring.
Apparently not. The plan is a dedicated desktop app you install. No need for physical testing centers or those browser extensions that watch your every move.
Okay, convenient. But how did they stop cheating if it's just you and your computer at home? That's the perennial question.
It's a trade-off, right? Instead of live proctoring, they're focusing on designing the app to respect privacy, but still log system activity.
So it looks for suspicious patterns.
Basically, things that might indicate cheating, which then get flagged for a human to review after the exam.
Interesting approach. Post-exam analysis rather than live surveillance. A big challenge for a free platform, you'd think.
Definitely a technical lift, but it aligns with their accessibility goals.
What about people who already earned the older legacy certifications? Are those worthless now?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They've been clear about that. Those legacy certs will eventually expire, but not anytime soon.
They said 2028 at the earliest.
Yeah, 2028 and maybe even later. And the good news is, if you have a legacy cert,
You don't have to redo everything.
right, you just need to build the final projects required for that specific certification under the new requirements, and then sit for the new exam for that topic.
So a clear upgrade path.
Exactly. A straightforward grandfathering process.
When you step back, this whole shift really seems to validate what learners want, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It confirms people value those smaller, more specific certs, like they said. Things you can actually put on your LinkedIn or resume fairly quickly.
Proof that micro-credentialing makes sense for motivation and, well, job hunting.
Totally. And you have to remember the scale we're talking about here.
How many certs have they issued over the years?
Over 300,000 free verified certifications in the last 11 years. It's massive. So this change makes sure those crucial early milestones, which are core to their whole mission, remain accessible and properly validated.
Okay, so summing up the big picture. The 1,800-hour full-stack path is still the goal, but now it's broken into 6 verifiable stages. Faster proof of progress.
Which leads us right to the practical advice for you, the listener.
What should people do now?
The strong recommendation from freeCodeCamp is switch from the legacy curriculum to the new one immediately.
Immediately. Why the big rush, apart from getting certified sooner? Is the new content that much better?
Well, yes. They're pretty emphatic about it. The new coursework is described as way better.
How so?
It's more aligned with current industry needs. You build production-ready projects sooner. There's more theory, especially on data structures and algorithms key for interviews.
Ah, the interview prep angle.
And the whole flow is apparently much smoother. It moves logically from JavaScript and Python fundamentals through databases and APIs. It's just a better designed learning path overall.
So basically, there's no real reason to stick with the older stuff anymore.
Strategically, no. By switching now, you get on the path with superior content.
And you could be one of the very first people to take those responsive web design and JavaScript exams around Halloween.
Exactly. That's a pretty cool incentive, getting one of the first of these new certs.
It really changes the timeline, doesn't it? From potentially waiting years for one credential.
To getting your first verifiable skill badge in potentially just a few months.
Okay, so the only real change here is adding these stepping stone certifications. All the other plans for the full stack content are still moving forward.
Correct. It's an addition, not a subtraction.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to consider. How does having potentially 7 distinct credentials on your profile, instead of just aiming for one huge one years down the road, change your approach?
Yeah, how does that impact your job search strategy, your networking, how you present your skills?
It's more than just knowledge accumulation now. It's about having demonstrable proof points much earlier in your journey. Something to think about. Happy coding.